The galaxy did not panic immediately. That came later. At first, there was confusion, misfiled reports, delayed sensor echoes, fragmented intelligence passed quietly between powers that preferred shadows to spotlights. Humanity's elevation to sovereign power status had been disruptive, yes, but not catastrophic. The real shock came when the borders moved. Not outward in conquest, inward. Systems that had long existed as contested buffer zones, lawless regions claimed by no one and preyed upon by everyone, began to change. Trade routes stabilized. Pirate activity collapsed. Long-range sensors detected disciplined patrol patterns where chaos had reigned for centuries. The flags were Terran. Commander Sarah Hale studied the holographic star map aboard the TCS Resolute. The ship drifted at the edge of the Terran expanse, engines idling, armor plates still scarred from earlier engagements. Confirmed last sweep, Hale said. Lieutenant Osei didn't look up from his console. Negative hostile contacts. No pirate emissions in the last 43 hours. That's a record, Hale muttered. No one wants to test us, Osei replied. Hale didn't smile. That worried her. Humanity had spent generations learning that silence was rarely peace. It was repositioning. Any word from the assembly? Hale asked. None official, Osei said. Unofficial channels are nervous. Hale leaned back, folding her arms. Good. Nervous keeps people honest. The Resolute wasn't a warship in the traditional sense. It carried weapons, yes, more than most civilizations could comprehend, but it was built for presence, not destruction. A reminder, a warning, a line. Cross it, and things escalated. The Terran doctrine spreading quietly through the galaxy was simple. We will not rule you. We will not save you. But we will not allow monsters to thrive in our shadow. Some species welcomed it. Others resented it deeply. The first challenge came from the Yulari Combine. They were old. Older than the Assembly itself. Masters of economic pressure. Their fleet small but precise. Their influence woven through 100 civilizations like a parasite that convinced its host it was necessary. They did not attack Terran space. They attacked Terran allies. 3 merchant convoys vanished in neutral systems under Yulari trade enforcement actions. Ships disabled. Crews detained. Cargo seized under obscure pre-contact statutes buried deep in Assembly archives. Hale received the report without visible reaction. Summon Ambassador Kita, she said. Secure channel. The hologram shimmered, resolving into the elongated form of the Yulari diplomat. His eyes were facete, calculating. Commander Hale, Kita said smoothly. To what do we owe the pleasure? You boarded Terran-flagged civilian vessels, Hale said. Release the crews. Kita's frills fluttered in practice defense. Those vessels violated combined commercial law. They were outside your jurisdiction. Hale cut in. You know that. We dispute your interpretation of territorial. Hale leaned forward. Ambassador, she said quietly, you're testing boundaries. Kita smiled. That is the nature of diplomacy. Not with us, Hale replied. The ambassador's smile thinned. You would escalate over trade. No, Hale said. We'll end the problem. The channel went silent for half a second too long. You threaten a founding power of the Assembly, Kita said. Hale's eyes hardened. We warned a founding power once before, she said. They don't have a fleet anymore. The Yulari convoys released the crews within the hour. The galaxy noticed. But still, no panic. Not yet. The real shift began 6 months later, when the long-range arrays screamed. The signal came from beyond mapped space, a distortion so vast that early analysts dismissed it as sense of malfunction. Entire constellations flickered, their missions bending unnaturally, as if something massive was moving between them. The archivists were the first to speak. They did not call an assembly session. They bypassed it entirely. The message went straight to Terra. The dark pressure has accelerated. Your species was not meant to stand alone. Hale stood in the Situation Chamber beneath Earth Fleet Command, surrounded by projections that refused to behave like normal space. Admiral Reyes broke the silence. So it's real, he said. Hale nodded. Whatever's out there, it's coming faster than predicted. And the Assembly? Reyes asked. They're still arguing definitions, Hale said. Threat, entity, natural phenomenon. Reyes snorted. Classic. A new projection flared, Deep space telemetry pulled from classified Terran arrays. The object, or objects, didn't resemble fleets. They resembled absence. Regions where stars dimmed slightly as something passed near them. Gravity behaving. Wrong. Consumption vectors. Hale said. Not invasion. Erasure. Reyes leaned forward. Can we fight it? Hale hesitated. We can slow it, she said. We can hurt it. But Reyes pressed. But the galaxy isn't ready, Hale finished. Reyes exhaled. Neither were we, once. That memory hung between them. Terran history was full of moments where survival had depended on unity forged under pressure. Notify the assembly, Reyes said. Full disclosure. Hale nodded. They won't like the tone. Let them not like it, Reyes said. Fear motivates faster than comfort. The assembly session that followed was the largest in recorded history. Delegations filled overflow chambers. Observers crowded every relay. Species that had ignored Terran presence now watched every word. Hale stood at the center again. This time, she didn't begin with diplomacy. This is not a negotiation, she said. It's a warning. The projection ignited, revealing the dark pressures advance. Slow, inexorable, indifferent. This force does not communicate, Hale said. It does not conquer. It consumes. A murmur of disbelief rippled. You faced extinction events before, Hale continued. Plagues, supernovas, rogue IS. This is different. How? Frexel asked, voice tight. It adapts, Hale said. Every species it encounters teaches it how to consume the next one faster. Silence fell. And when it reaches us? Frexel asked. Hale met his gaze. We fight, she said, or we vanish. A delegate shouted, you brought this upon us. Your expansion. No, Hale snapped, sharper than ever before. This was coming long before we left our gravity well. She took a breath, steadying herself, but we're the first species crazy enough to punch it. That landed hard. You expect us to follow you into annihilation, the delegate demanded. Hale's voice softened. No, she said. We expect you to survive behind us. The assembly reeled. You're proposing a shield, Frexel said slowly. A living barrier. Yes, Hale said. Terran fleets will engage first. Always. And the cost? Frexel asked. Hale didn't hesitate. Us, she said. The galaxy had never heard anything like it. Species that measured war in profit margins and acceptable losses struggled to comprehend a civilization willing to stand in front of extinction. Not to rule, not to be worshipped, but simply because someone had to. You would sacrifice yourselves, Frexel said. Hale shook her head. No, she said. We'd fight. She straightened. And humans, Hale said, are very hard to kill. The vote never happened. It wasn't needed. For the first time in galactic history, fleets from dozens of civilizations repositioned. Not toward Terran space, but behind it. Humanity had become the line, and the dark was still coming. The first contact with the dark did not happen at a border. It happened at a place no one had bothered to defend. The Yarrow Expanse was a graveyard of forgotten systems, stars too unstable for colonization, planets stripped long ago by careless empires. When Terran deep-range probes went silent there, Fleet Command did not assume malfunction. They assumed contact. Admiral Reyes stood on the command deck of the TCS Vanguard, watching the sensor feeds distort into unreadable spirals. Range, he asked. Meaningless, the tactical officer replied. It's not approaching like a fleet. It's overlapping us. Space folded. Not violently, not dramatically. It thinned. The stars beyond dimmed, as if viewed through water. Then one vanished entirely. No explosion, no gravitational spike. Just absence. Jesus, someone whispered. Steady, Reyes ordered. All ships, hammerfall posture. Weapons hot. Terran fleets did not charge blindly. They braced. The first shot humanity ever fired at the dark was not a beam or missile. It was mass. 3 relativistic impactors dropped out of real space at fractional light speed, guided by predictive models that accounted for physics no longer behaving properly. They struck nothing, and then something struck back. The Vanguard shuddered as space-time screamed. Hull stress alarms flared across the board. One escort ship vanished mid-formation. No debris, No energy bloom. Gone. Contact confirmed, the tactical officer said, voice tight. Enemy adapting. Reyes' jaw clenched. All fleets, engage. Lead response. Humanity unleashed everything it had learned across centuries of war. Gravity shear weapons tore at the edges of the dark. Space-time anchors locked regions of reality into place, forcing the entity to exist where it wanted to erase. Quantum destabilizers flooded the void with contradictory states, poisoning whatever intelligence lay within. For a moment, just a moment, the dark recoiled. It was the first time in recorded galactic history that something beyond comprehension had reacted to pain. Across 100 systems, non-Terran observers watched in stunned silence. The humans were not winning, but they were not dying quietly either. They are slowing it, Frexel whispered from the assembly observation chamber. The Archivist Prime glowed faintly. They are teaching it fair. The cost was immediate. Terran ships burned. Crews died holding firing solutions long after probabilities said they shouldn't exist. Captains ordered ramming maneuvers into regions where reality collapsed seconds later, buying time measured in heartbeats. Human doctrine activated fully. No retreat, no surrender. Delay is victory. Commander Hale watched the battle unfold from Terra, hands clenched behind her back. They are buying us hours, Admiral Reyes said over the channel. Maybe days. Hale closed her eyes briefly. Then we use every second. The message went out. Not a call for help. A directive. To all assembly fleets. Do not engage. Survive. Learn. Some disobeyed. A handful of proud empires surged forward, weapons blazing, convinced numbers would succeed where humans bled. They lasted minutes. The dark consumed them faster after learning their tactics. The galaxy understood then. Humanity wasn't shielding them out of arrogance. They were shielding them because no one else could stand there and still function. As Terran ships fell back, never fleeing, always fighting, the dark slowed. Its advance walked, confused by resistance it had never evolved to face. It had never encountered prey that adapted back. Weeks later, the front stabilized. The cost was brutal. Entire Terran fleets were reduced to names etched into silent archives. Earth's skies filled with memorial lights as billions watched the roll of the dead. Commander Hale stood before the assembly once more. She looked tired. No, older. We can hold, she said. But not forever. Frexel bowed his head. What do you need? Hale looked around the chamber. Everything, she said, and the courage to change. The assembly listened. For the first time, they didn't argue. Industrial worlds converted to war production. Scientists abandoned secrecy, sharing research openly. Species once content to profit behind others learned what it meant to contribute. And humanity, they did what they had always done best. They endured. They bled. They learned. Months later, the Dark encountered something new along the Terran line. Not just resistance, a trap. Reality itself detonated inward as a chained array of space-time anchors collapsed in sequence, tearing a wound into the consuming force. For the first time, a measurable portion of it ceased to exist. The Dark screamed. Across the galaxy, sensors registered it, a subspace howl that carried one clear truth. The universe was no longer safe for it. Admiral Reyes smiled grimly as the data came in. We can kill it, he said. Hale nodded slowly. Yes, she said. Eventually. And after? Reyes asked. Hale looked out at the stars. After, she said. The galaxy remembers why it survived. The official record of Chapter 6 would later note the moment humanity's role was redefined. Not conquerors, not saviors, but guardians born from fire, dangerous, stubborn, and unwilling to let the dark win simply because it always had before. When future generations asked why the galaxy trusted humans with the front line, the answer was simple. Because when the universe tried to erase everything, humanity stood in the way and said, no.